Now we're going to go over the settings. And your settings are down here, as you can see down here. And the first one is gain. Gain is your sensitivity. You know, the lower it is, the more stable it is, but you lose depth. The higher it is, you gain depth, but you're also going to have more, it's going to be noisier. So you want to find that good area, that good place where it's, you know, maximum sensitivity with the least amount of noise. I will say this, at least here in Texas where I'm at, the stock modes are set up pretty good. And I'm finding some really deep stuff with just stock modes. But it can go up. And but anyhow, that's your gain. Next we've got threshold right there. And threshold only works with Gen and Gen D. So I haven't got into that much, but when you're in any other program, it skips over threshold. It won't even let you select it. So, which is a good thing. Next we have disk. And disk and notch are very similar. The thing with disk, you can disk from 1 over. And however far you got to discriminate all that out. Where notch, you could discriminate 30 to 40 out, 50 to 60, you know, however you want to do it, just to give an example. So your disk, that's really simple, self-explanatory. Next we have tracking, and tracking, all that is, and I believe in the book it recommends most programs you set it in, that you turn the machine on, get it in your program, and you pump it with the trigger pulled forwards, and it'll give you a set ground balance. Tracking's just tracking, changing your ground balance as you go. I haven't used it yet because, like I said, I think in the manual it discussed it had discussed that it's not, you don't want to use it for all the programs, and I forget, I don't know, but I know where I was hunting it discussed not using it. Where am I at here? So tracking, I skipped FE volume. I'm not sure how I did that, but FE volume is, to me so far, the coolest thing on this there is. FE volume, what you can do, let's say here's our gain, or I'm sorry, here's our disc. Like right now we're up to 15 on whatever, on the deep program. Okay, I just turned it on and started it up, didn't set any programs or anything like that. So what FE volume can do is you can take, let's say we disc to 15, or I'm sorry, let's say you want 0 to 15 disked out. Instead of disking out, you can drop disk to 0, turn on your FE volume, and have your FE volume on wherever you want. Instead of disking out, you're turning the FE volume on. So you can either hear it in a lower tone, the FE volume, or whatever you've got discriminated out, or you can not hear it at all. The machine's still picking it up, but you're not having to listen to it. And the reason that is so cool to me, the more discrimination and the more you notch out, the more you're gonna get choppy tones, that it's gonna stumble more. It's trying to process so much, to feed you what you only want to hear. Well, what this is doing, the machine's still picking it up. You're just not having to listen to it. So I think that is a killer feature. Now, along with FE volume, okay, FE volume, we can turn it all the way off. We can turn what you have discriminated out, what you want to discriminate out, all the way off, which is really cool. You can listen to it at I believe 4 or 5 different levels. Now, another thing you can do that's even cooler, you could take your disc all the way down to 0. Now we're gonna jump over here to notch filter. And we can notch out whatever we want here, okay? You could just accept quarters, dimes, Indian heads, whatever you want. We could make the whole screen black except a few numbers. And then we can go over here to FE volume and we can turn everything we've got notched onto a one low tone. You can do higher tones, but I would suggest turn it down, or I'm sorry, volume. It'll give you a low tone at a very low volume. So you still have to hear it, but on such a low volume, it's definitely different. You don't have to listen. Now that to me is super cool. You can pretty much block out whatever you want and just barely pick it up to where you hear it, but it's not a nuisance, and just go after the targets you want. Now that is an amazing feature on this machine. So that's notch filter. That's, now notch filter, we could do 0 to 15. Let's say we wanted to notch that out, and 30 to 40. I'm just putting numbers out there. And we wanted to do 55 through 59 or just 55. You can notch all that out, turn your FE volume on, and do that. And that is just a really cool feature. Okay, so we we went over those. So let's go over here to bright, right there. All that's doing is we can change the brightness of the screen and how bright it is. And we can also determine how long we want it on. We can have it where it stays on for I don't know how long, but it shuts off automatically, or you can keep it on continuously. Obviously right now I've got it kept on continuously. So then we've got, now we have vibrate. That is a very cool feature, especially for somebody that's sight impaired. It'll vibrate on targets as you're metal detecting. So that's a very cool feature. I haven't used it yet. I probably won't use it, but it's there. You can turn it off, and then there's, I believe, 5 different settings, from a slower response to a really quick response, which is very cool. The light right there, that is super cool. There's actually an LED right here pointing down to your coil that you can turn on, and that thing is bright. Let me do it real quick. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but it's definitely putting out some light. So we'll turn that off. Just wanted to show that to you. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, F shift. Okay, here's your frequency. Don't confuse that. Your frequency's over there in expert right here. F shift is if let's say you're in the 14 kilohertz frequency. I believe this is 5, 14, and 20. So you're in the 14 kilohertz and it's interacting with your pinpointer or your buddy's detector. You can hit F shift and change your different tones. Or I'm sorry, change your different it doesn't change these frequencies. It just adjusts your you're in 14, it'll adjust it to where you can hopefully get it to not talk with whatever's interrupting, whatever's causing issues. FD save, that's pretty simple. That's where you save programs. After you've adjusted your modes up here, your different programs, you can save them, and just as easily as you can delete them as well. Each one individually, which is really cool. So now I explained notch filter. Then we have audio tone. So let's say you're in DE3, which is a 3-tone program. You can make each one of those blocks of tones their own, however you want. I believe, I don't have that in front of me. but there's a pretty good wide range of tones you've got, so you could set those however you want. Tone break, just what it sounds like. Those we're in. Let's say we're in DE3 again. Three different. You can move. Let's say the first one goes to 30, then 30 to 60, and 60 to 99. Well, you could change that to 20. Your first break. Change your second one to 70. Whatever you want to do. Just as an example. ISAT, that's something I have not used. I'm still kind of a little bit learning. I'm not sure. I don't know that I really need that where I'm at. I'm not having issues. ISAT, when you're in general or general D mode, it adjusts the speed that the threshold recovers. Turn it up, it increases stability, especially if you're in high mineralization, that kind of stuff. But keep in mind, the higher you go, the more you're going to you're going to lose depth, I believe is what I read. Now ISAT in the disc modes, so all your other modes, as far as I know, they're all discrimination modes. What's going to happen is it's used to stabilize. Okay, if you're getting a lot of false signals and you're sure you've got your machine ground balance good, you've turned your gain down and everything else, and you're still having trouble, turning it up will help you in mineralized ground and with hot rocks. I haven't had any issues with hot rocks or too heavy mineralization, so I haven't played with it yet. And then, of course, your frequency, that switches you back between 5, 14, and 20, I believe it is. So, yeah, there you go. It's that simple. It's a very simple machine to navigate through once you get the hang of it and stuff. And I really enjoy it so far. It's been a lot of fun.